So, what happens when the stories we've told ourselves for a century, the stories that literally shaped our world, suddenly just stop making sense? Today, we're diving into Yuval Noah Harari's urgent warning that humanity is at this massive turning point, and the scripts that once guided us are completely unraveling. And Harari just nails our modern dilemma with this quote. I mean, think about it. We are absolutely drowning in information, but we're starving for wisdom, for clarity. This one idea, that clarity is the new power, that's going to be our guide today as we try to make some sense out of all this 21st century chaos. All right, so before we can even begin to understand where we're headed, we have to look back. We have to understand the grand story that used to explain the world, a story that, for a lot of us, has reached its final chapter. For decades, this was it. This was the grand narrative, kind of like the world's operating system after the Cold War. And it was simple, it was hopeful, and for a while, it really felt unstoppable. The promise was crystal clear. Just globalize, liberalize, and prosperity would follow. For everyone. You can see it play out right here. First, fascism was defeated. Then, communism just imploded, leaving liberalism as pretty much the last ideology standing. It was the winner. But the story didn't end there, did it? After the 2008 financial crisis and all the political shocks that came after, that final story, it started to crack, leaving us in this huge narrative vacuum. And here's the kicker. Just as that old story was crumbling, a new, unbelievably powerful force was rising. A force that doesn't just challenge our politics, but the very definition of what it even means to be human. And this slide really shows the fundamental shift. The Industrial Revolution, that was all about machines replacing our muscles. And the great fear back then was exploitation. But this new revolution, this fusion of infotech and biotech, is about algorithms replacing our minds. And the new great fear? It's irrelevance. This fusion of technologies creates a pretty terrifying new possibility. You know, in the 20th century, the biggest fear for the working class was being exploited. In the 21st, Harari argues the fear is something much, much worse. Okay, just look at this number, 90%. Let that sink in for a second. It's a statistic that represents an incredible leap forward for human safety, but it also hides a massive, massive societal challenge. So yeah, this amazing progress comes at a pretty staggering social cost. What happens to millions and millions of taxi drivers and truckers and delivery people when an algorithm can do their job better, cheaper, and way safer? And this leads to Harari's really stark warning. The great struggle of this century might not be a class struggle against exploitation, but a struggle against sheer irrelevance. A world where huge numbers of people are, from a purely economic view, just no longer needed. But the threat isn't just about jobs, about economic irrelevance. It goes so much deeper than that, challenging the very idea that we are in control of our own lives, which is the foundation of our entire political system. I mean, this is the bedrock of liberalism, right? Our political systems, our economic systems, they're all built on the idea that human feelings and free choices are the ultimate authority. We're told to trust our hearts, our gut feelings to guide us. But what if that feeling in your gut isn't magic? What if it's just a really complex calculation happening in your brain? Science is showing us that our emotions, love, anger, fear, they're biochemical mechanisms, fine-tuned by millions of years of evolution. And if feelings are just algorithms, well, algorithms can be understood, they can be predicted, and they can be hacked. And the process is terrifyingly logical. First, wearable sensors, online tracking, they collect all this intimate data about your body and your brain. Then, big data algorithms analyze that data until they understand your emotional triggers better than you do. From there, it's a really short step to manipulation, to pushing your emotional buttons on command. The final result? Well, it's the potential blueprint for a brand new kind of digital dictatorship. So this new reality, it leaves us facing some of the most profound and urgent questions our species has ever had to ask. And the answers are going to shape the future of life itself. Seriously, who should own your data? Should it belong to you, to a corporation, to the government? This isn't just some tech question. Harari argues it is the most important political question of our time, because whoever owns the data owns the future. And then there's this mindbender. What happens when biotechnology lets the rich buy not just bigger yachts, but better bodies and better brains? If technology that upgrades human abilities is only available to a wealthy elite, we could see economic inequality harden into actual biological inequality. A world of superhumans and just plain old Homo sapiens. And this brings us right back to where we started. The old stories, liberalism, nationalism, religion, they were built for a world that's quickly disappearing. To navigate this new future of AI and biotech, we desperately need a new global story. The final, most urgent question is, what will that story be? And what part are you going to play in writing it?